This is the first time Wharton's Alumni Forum is held in this country. It marks a very significant milestone in Wharton's present contribution and role in Indonesia and its fast-growing economy. This forum is held during a pivotal period in Indonesia's economic development. The Indonesian economy was battered into a very bad shape during the 1998 Asian financial crisis. Since then, Indonesian government and its leaders have learned the lessons and managed to steer Indonesian economy prudently that resulted into a much stronger economic numbers. We survived the 2008 global financial crisis fairly well. And in the current European financial crisis, if I may call it so, Indonesia is still managed to key in over 6% GDP growth, a number that I think is fairly good considering the general situation of the global economy. The Economist magazine calls the Indonesian economy the Komodo economy, after our unique species of giant lizard. It is meant to characterize an economy that is resilient, buoyant, and surprisingly agile. But yes, Komodo also bites, unfortunately. This result does not come out of luck, of course. It came from hard work of both government and private sectors. Many of our government companies have been privatized or publicly listed to improve its governance and professionalism. Six of our government-owned companies are in the Fortune 500 global companies. Yet, Indonesia holds many more promises in store. The country's consumer, infrastructure, and resources sectors will continue to grow rapidly and provide opportunities for investment and trade. Indonesia's large consumer and growing middle class is well documented. But consider this, that Indonesians now only consume 7 kilograms of meat per capita per year, when compared to the 47 kilograms of meat consumption per year that Malaysians, Ibu Seti, consumes per capita. The growth potential is very, very obvious. Consider also our financial sector. Indonesia has a very well-capitalized and well-regulated banking sector. It also has 120 banks active in the market. Therefore, it is rather ironic that there are less than 15 million credit cards in the market, owned by about 7 million people out of 240 million people. This type of statistic repeats itself throughout the financial sector: personal loan, life insurance, securities, and so on. In tourism, Indonesia's potential is boundless and is barely touched. With over 13,000 tropical islands, visitors and investors will always find an unspoiled reef or a hidden beach waiting to be discovered. Indonesia also has tremendous need for infrastructure. In fact, this is the most immediate binding constraint of our growth. Based on our projections, Indonesia will need 25,000 megawatts of additional power by 2020. About half of this will come from renewable geothermal energy, and over 10,000 kilometers of additional road in a few years, new airports, ports, train system, among other things. Ladies and gentlemen, the government is committed to implement its public-private partnership in developing these and other infrastructure projects. The Wharton community, its faculty, students, and alumni have been accumulating a massive pool of knowledge in economic management. Over the years, we have seen many breakthroughs and mistakes done by different governments and companies around the world. These experiences have been well documented and researched extensively at Wharton. That extraordinary pool of knowledge and expertise should be shared. We therefore would like to extend our invitation to Wharton academics, students, and alumni to take a more active role and work directly with our government to advise, coach, train, and in general share knowledge with our public sector so that we can make better decisions for Indonesia's future. Intellectually, Indonesia represents a gigantic social laboratory with its $1 trillion economy and counting, a young democracy in the process of massive transition from a very centralized authoritarian regime to a vibrant democracy and decentralization with all of its upsides and downsides. This is a place where a sheer intellectual power and competing socio-political and economic policies are put in practice. It is a very fertile ground for academic inquiry. I would therefore like to call on the Wharton School to establish a faculty research fund in Philadelphia to study Indonesia and to make possible continued collaboration with academic counterparts at Indonesian universities. The fund can facilitate faculties, current students, and alumni to contribute some of their time to work on our public policy issues. The impact of such an establishment for Indonesia and Wharton cannot be underestimated. I'm sure that the research fund can count on the financial support of friends of both Wharton and Indonesia. My call to public service also extends to our alumni in Indonesia, so few of whom currently work in the public sector, unfortunately. Our government and state-owned companies are open to former businessmen and academics where you can contribute to this great cause of building our great nation. I'm pleased to note that the environment will be one of the key topics in this conference. The President and I have pledged our commitment to preserve and protect the natural environment and resources of Indonesia for the benefits of the people of Indonesia and all the future generations. Globally, Indonesia is at the forefront of sustainable development movement. Wharton is well known for its commitment to sustainable development and environmental protection. I note with pleasure and extend my gratitude to Wharton's institutional commitment to this important topic through the work of its faculty and especially the initiative for global environmental leadership. You may already know that I was a doctoral student at Wharton more than 3 decades ago. I still remember the wise and inspirational professors who encouraged me to think rigorously, analytically, and ethically. I've used and still use many of the things I learned at Wharton for the betterment of the people of Indonesia. Wharton is a great school, and I hope many more young Indonesians would be as fortunate as I was to gain such a rewarding experience. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I would like to thank Dean Robertson and all Wharton board members who have chosen Jakarta as its place for global forum. Hopefully, this event can bring an even closer and productive relationship between Indonesia and Wharton with its vast network of alumni and business connection. I wish you a wonderful conference. Thank you.